Hello everyone, before I start the actual review, I just want to say that I have been thinking a great deal about doing more on this channel except book reviews, maybe book related content. I've seen some really good book related content from more popular YouTubers, such as people they read like self-help books in the day, or they read a book during a 24-hour readathon. I think Irish Reader does that sometimes. And if you have some cool ideas, please let me know, because I really want to change this channel. I really liked doing the quizzes when someone would read me questions about royalty, because I read a lot about royalty on this channel. But I do want to do more, book related content that's not book reviews. Um, so yeah. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I love talking to all of y'all on the internet. I love this book community that we have going on. And now on with the video. Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing the book Fortune's Children by Arthur T Vanderbilt. And as the title suggests, this is the story about the Vanderbilts, and it starts off in the 1800s with Cornelius Vanderbilt, who is known as the Commodore, and ends with the custody battle of Gloria Vanderbilt, who is the mother of Anderson Cooper. And the Commodore, I'm going to just call him the Commodore because there's a few Cornelius Vanderbilts. So the Commodore, he started his fortune in shipping, and then it switched to railroad, and he really amassed a large fortune in the railroad, because the railroad industry boomed in the 1800s, and he amassed a huge fortune, but he wasn't really liked by the old money, because he just did whatever he wanted. He said whatever he wanted. He swore, and he just didn't care. And so he amassed a great fortune, and then his descendants squandered it by trying to get into society and Mrs. Astor's 400 and showing off their wealth. They want to show it off, and they want to make these gaudy palaces and things like that, and they want to show it off. And that's what they did, and they squandered their money. And another reason I've heard, this is not in the book, but I've heard that they also didn't invest in automobiles. I think if they would have invested in the automobile industry, they would have made a fortune. And one thing, I found a few things that were interesting, was that when they had a reunion, all of his descendants had a reunion fairly recently, there was no millionaire among any of the Vanderbilts. They were all, just normal people without really any money. They probably had regular jobs. And another thing was, it goes into great detail about the Vanderbilt Ball of 1883, and this was created and orchestrated by Alva Vanderbilt, who married into the Vanderbilt. She was Alva Smith, and then she married William Kissam Vanderbilt, and she had a quote-unquote housewarming party, and she wanted the party to be the talk of the town, so she used the press. She befriended the press and said that she wanted to show them what's going to happen at her party, and this made it the talk of the town. And she also wanted to use this party to get into Mrs. Astor's 400. So she orchestrated a plan. She deliberately did not invite Mrs. Astor's daughter, Carrie Astor, to the party, and her excuse was that Mrs. Astor had not called on her, so she couldn't have an invitation to the party. She couldn't give Carrie Astor an invitation to the party. And Mrs. Astor swallows her pride because Mrs. Astor she loved her family, and she decided to pay a visit to Alva Vanderbilt, and then they both ended up coming to the big party, and it goes into detail about what people were wearing. One of the big things, and there's a whole Wikipedia article dedicated to this. There is an electric light dress, because electricity was fairly new in this time. I think it was invented in the 1700s, but people weren't really using it until, this was a brand new thing. So there was an electric light dress, and it had like a little battery pack, and a torch would light up, and it was worn by Alva Vanderbilt's sister-in-law, Alice Vanderbilt, and she and that was a new big thing that she would turn herself on, and there'd be a torch. And Alva also tried to get her daughter make her status bigger by pretty much selling her daughter to the Duke of Marlborough into marriage. And her daughter did become a duchess, but her daughter did end up divorcing her husband, and she yeah so she but she did get her into that part of English society, and through that, Consuelo Vanderbilt, who's the daughter, is a relative by marriage to like a cousin by marriage to Winston Churchill. So I think that's really interesting, and I think it's crazy that they squander their money just to try and keep up with the Joneses, as we would say. Um, and yeah, so overall, this was a really good book. If you're into the Gilded Age, whether it be the time period or the HBO series, I suggest you you pick up this book. If you have an Audible Plus membership, Premium Plus, it is free that I know of. When I read it, it was free. Um, so they usually keep them free for like I think a few years. They keep them free, and so uh, if you're watching this recently, it might be free if you have an Audible Premium Plus membership. And it was long, but it didn't drag. It didn't feel like it dragged on too much. So that was really, really exciting and really good. So I will see you on the next video. I also listened to a book by Alison Weir called Mary Boleyn, and there's kind of a backstory about that I'm going to share in the video. And it's also another free one that I got from the Audible Plus catalog. So I'll probably read that next. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.